The shackled stranger. Eli worked with his head down, his hands covered in dirt and oil. The alien sun was hot above him, burning red across the sky. This was not Earth. This was a prison planet called Zor 14, where humans were nothing more than tools. Every day, he fixed machines for the alien overlords. No breaks, no freedom, no hope. The guards walked by with weapons in hand. They didn't speak much, just barked orders in their cold alien language. Eli had learned enough to survive, just enough to stay alive. He never looked around, never asked questions. It was safer that way. But that changed one night. He was repairing a broken pipe near the back wall of the camp. The area was quiet, too quiet. The wind whistled between the metal buildings. And then, he heard it. A whisper. "Please." Eli froze. He turned his head, slowly. The voice came again. Soft, desperate. "Over here, please." Behind a pile of scrap metal, he saw her. She was unlike anyone he had seen before. Tall, thin, with glowing silver eyes. Her skin was pale blue, covered in bruises and dust. Her clothes were torn. Her wrists were chained to the wall behind her. She looked weak, but her eyes were strong, full of pain. And something else. Hope. "Who are you?" Eli asked, keeping his voice low. "My name is Zira," she whispered. "I need your help." Eli looked around. If the guards saw him talking, he'd be punished. Maybe worse, but something about her made him stay. "Why are you chained here?" he asked. Zira looked down. "Because I ran away, and they caught me." "What did you do?" he asked. "I said no," she replied. That answer confused him. No to what? She looked up, her eyes shining in the dark. No to being a weapon. No to being their slave. Eli's chest tightened. He understood that feeling. He had said no once too. That's how he ended up on Zor 14. Zira leaned forward, her chains rattling softly. "Please, break these shackles. Help me escape, and I promise you, I will never forget." Eli took a step closer. "If they catch me, we're both dead." "I know," she said, "but if you leave me here, I will die anyway." He didn't know what to do. Every voice in his head screamed, "Walk away. Be safe. Stay quiet." But his heart said something else. "How long have you been here?" he asked. "Too long," she said. "They hide me so the others don't see. They say I'm dangerous. But I never hurt anyone." Eli crouched beside her. The metal shackles were tight around her wrists. Alien tech. Strong. Too strong for human hands. "I don't have tools," he whispered. Zira leaned in close. "You're a human. Your mind works differently. They fear you because you think in ways they don't understand. That's why they keep you alive. Not because they care, but because they can't build the machines without you." Her words hit him hard. It was true. They didn't see him as a person, just a brain with hands. "What if this is a trap?" he asked. "What if you're lying to me?" Zira smiled, sadly. "Then I guess you're already dead, because this place kills you slowly, day by day, hour by hour." They stared at each other in the dark, prisoner and stranger, human and alien, both broken, both lost. Then she said something that chilled him. "If they find me talking to you, they'll kill us both." Eli stood up quickly and looked around. The shadows were moving. He had stayed too long. "I'll come back," he said. "Promise?" Zira asked. He hesitated, then nodded. "I promise." As Eli walked back to his bunk, his heart was beating fast. Something had changed. He wasn't just surviving anymore. Now he had a secret, and that secret had a name. Zira. And for the first time in many years, he felt something dangerous. The secret she carries. The next night, Eli returned. He walked slowly, careful not to be seen. Every shadow could hide a watcher. Every drone could hear a whisper. But he didn't care. Something inside him had changed. Maybe it was her voice. Maybe it was her eyes. Or maybe it was just the way she said, "Please." Zira was still there, chained, silent, waiting. When she saw him, her face lit up, not with joy, but with quiet relief. The kind of look someone gives when they no longer feel invisible. "You came back," she said. Eli nodded. "I said I would." Zira's hands trembled, not from fear, but from something else. She didn't speak right away. She just looked at him, as if trying to memorize his face. "I don't have tools yet," he said, "but I will. I'll find something to break your chains." Zira looked down. "They're not just metal, Eli. These are energy-linked cuffs, connected to the prison's power grid. If you pull them the wrong way, they send a shock strong enough to stop my heart." Eli's eyes widened. "Then how do I unlock them?" Zira looked up again, her voice lower. "You don't." "I do." He frowned. "You? But you're trapped." "Yes," she whispered, "but not helpless." She raised her left hand slightly. The chain rattled, and a faint light flickered beneath her skin. Eli leaned in. There, under her wrist, was something strange. A glowing blue mark, almost like a tattoo, but alive. "What is that?" he asked. "A royal mark," she said softly. "My bloodline's key." "Royal," Eli whispered. Zira hesitated, then nodded. "I was born into a ruling family, not the main one, but close. My father was a war advisor. My mother, she believed in peace. They hated her for it." Eli didn't know what to say. He had never heard an alien speak like this before, with emotion, with pain, with truth. Zira continued. "When the war ended, the High Council wanted to erase everything connected to weakness. They called peace a disease. They called me my mother's curse." "So they imprisoned you?" he asked. "No," she said. "They trained me to be a killer, to follow orders, to serve the Empire." She paused. Her eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. "But I couldn't do it. I couldn't become like them. So I ran." Eli sat down beside her, hiding in the shadows. "And they caught you?" "Yes. And instead of killing me, they chained me here, to rot, quietly, so no one would ask questions." Silence settled between them. The wind howled above the metal towers of the prison. The red moons began to rise. Far away, alarms echoed, but none came near this corner. Eli looked at her wrists again. "So this mark, it can unlock the chains?" "Yes," Zira said, "but only with the right code and the right pulse. I need energy, just a little, and I can free myself." Eli's mind began to race. "I work on machines. I can get energy cells." "Too loud," she warned. "Too dangerous. But maybe something smaller, a tool, something with a pulse emitter." Eli nodded slowly. "I think I know where to look." Zira leaned back against the wall. Her voice dropped. "You don't know me anything, Eli. I'm just a stranger, another prisoner." "You're not just a prisoner," he said. "You're the only one who asked for help." Zira smiled, just a little. "Then maybe that makes you the only human who still listens." They sat together for a few minutes in silence, not speaking, just breathing the same stolen air. Two lost souls under a broken sky. As Eli stood to leave, Zira said something that made him pause. "If I escape, they'll come after me. They'll burn worlds to find me. And if you're with me, they'll come after you too." Eli looked over his shoulder. "Why tell me that now?" "Because," she said softly, "I carry a secret, not just my bloodline, not just my past." He turned back. "Then what?" Zira looked him straight in the eyes. "Inside me is a memory crystal, hidden deep. They implanted it when I was a child. It contains codes, maps, battle plans. If it falls into the wrong hands, the galaxy burns." Eli's heart dropped. "Why are you telling me this?" he asked. Zira's answer was simple. Because you came back. The escape plan. Eli spent the whole next day thinking about Zira. He worked as usual, fixing broken consoles, repairing drones, welding damaged panels, but his hands moved on their own. His mind was with her, hidden behind the scrap piles, chained and waiting for him. Her words echoed inside him. Inside me is a memory crystal. If it falls into the wrong hands, the galaxy burns. He didn't know if he believed it, but something in her eyes told him it was true. Zira wasn't just another prisoner. She was carrying something dangerous, something powerful, and she had trusted him with that truth. He couldn't walk away now. That night, when the twin moons were high, he returned with a small tool hidden inside his jacket. It was a pulse scanner, normally used to test energy flows in circuits. Weak, but steady. If anyone saw it missing, he'd be punished, but he had taken the risk. Zira was waiting in the same spot, her back against the cold metal wall. "You found something," she said quietly. "Pulse scanner," Eli replied, kneeling beside her. "I don't know if it's strong enough." Zira's eyes lit up. "It doesn't need to be strong. Just steady." Eli handed her the scanner. Her fingers brushed against his. Her skin was warm, surprisingly human-like, and trembling. She opened a small compartment on the scanner and pressed her wrist against the device. The glowing mark under her skin began to pulse, sensing with the scanner's rhythm. A faint hum filled the air. "It's working," she whispered. Eli watched as the chains on her left wrist flickered with blue sparks. A small warning light blinked on her cuff. Then, silence. "It stopped," he said. Zira shook her head. "No, it's recalibrating. It's recognizing my blood." A few more seconds passed. Click. The left cuff opened with a hiss of air and dropped to the ground. Zira gasped softly, holding her free arm close. Bruises covered her skin where the metal had dug in for so long. "We did it," Eli whispered. "Not yet," she replied. "One more to go." They repeated the process on her right wrist. It took longer. The scanner stuttered. The energy flickered. "Come on," Eli muttered, adjusting the settings. Zira's breathing grew faster. The cuff began to spark. Not just blue, but red. "It's triggering the alarm," she said. "We have seconds." Eli grabbed the scanner and boosted the signal, knowing it might short out. And then, click. The second cuff opened. Zira fell forward into his arms, free for the first time in years. "You did it," she breathed, voice shaking. "You really did it." Eli helped her sit upright. "Now we run." But Zira shook her head. "Not yet. Not like this. They'll catch us within minutes." "Then what?" Eli asked. Zira looked around. Her eyes scanned the shadows like she was seeing a map in her mind. "We can't escape through the main gates," she said. "They're guarded, but there's a waste tunnel beneath the old repair station. It leads outside the fence." "I've seen that place," Eli said. "But it's sealed." Zira nodded. "I can open it, but we'll need 3 things." "Tell me." "A magnetic keycard from a guard, a breathing mask for the gas vents, and one of the patrol drones. Its tracker must be disabled." Eli blinked. "That's a lot." Zira looked at him with calm eyes. "You don't have to help me anymore." He stared at her. "You think I'm walking away now? After everything?" For the first time, Zira smiled, genuinely. Not sad, not bitter, just soft and real. "You're different from them," she said. Eli shrugged. "Humans are full of surprises." They made a plan. Eli would steal the keycard during his shift the next day. He had watched the guard rotation long enough to know when they got lazy. As for the breathing mask, he'd swipe one from the emergency locker near the furnace. And the drone. He'd have to disable it without setting off alarms. Not easy, but possible. Before leaving, Eli gave her a food pouch from his pocket. She hadn't eaten in days. Zira held it carefully, like it was gold. "Thank you," she said. "Don't thank me yet," Eli replied. "We're not free." As he turned to go, Zara called out softly, "Eli." He stopped. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "You barely know me." He thought for a moment, then said, "Because you made me feel human again." Zara didn't answer, but she didn't need to. That night, Eli didn't sleep. He lay on his thin metal bed, staring at the ceiling. Outside, the guards moved through the shadows. The fences buzzed with energy. The air smelled like oil and dust. Tomorrow, everything would change. Either they'd escape, or they'd die trying. The blood and the betrayal. The next day started like every other. Hot air, long hours, rough commands. Eli kept his head down as he worked in the main tech bay. His heart beat fast, but his hand stayed steady. Today was the day. There was no going back. Zero was waiting. Step 1. The keycard. Eli had studied the guard shifts. One of them, Sergen, always placed his helmet on the bench when he stopped for a drink. The keycard hung loosely from his belt. Easy to miss, easier to take. Eli waited until Sergen moved toward the water tank. Then, quick fingers. One motion. Swipe. The card was in his hand. He slipped it into the lining of his work shirt and kept walking, pretending nothing happened. Step 2. The breathing mask. He passed by the emergency supply closet on his way back to the repair shed. The door was sealed with a simple lock code. He had cracked it weeks ago out of boredom. Click. He opened it just enough to slide his hand inside and pulled out a small, dusty breathing mask. 2 down, 1 to go. The drone. This was the hardest part. Eli entered the storage room where deactivated patrol drones were kept. He picked one that still had power but hadn't been updated. Old model. Easier to manipulate. He pulled a wire from his tool belt, connected it to the drone's core, and began to shut down its tracking beacon. He worked fast, but not too fast. Moving too quickly made mistakes. One wrong signal, and the drone would alert the guards. Sweat dripped down his face. The system blinked red, then yellow, then green. Done. By sunset, he had everything. And by moonrise, he was back at Zara's hiding place. She smiled when she saw him. Not with joy, with respect. "You did it," she said. "We did it," he replied, handing her the items. Zara took the mask, the card, and the drone. She worked quickly, connecting wires, using the drone's power to activate a map on the stolen keycard. A soft blue light flickered in the dirt, showing the hidden tunnel under the old furnace station. "We leave now," she said, "before the next scan cycle." They moved like ghosts. The camp was quiet. The guards had changed shifts. Drones hovered, but low and lazy. Zara moved smoother now, like her strength had returned. Eli noticed the way she led without fear, like she had done this before, like she had escaped worse. They reached the furnace station. Smoke poured from the chimneys above. But behind the structure, hidden under metal crates and dust, was a trapdoor. Zara swiped the keycard. Nothing. She tried again. The red light blinked. "What's wrong?" Eli whispered. "It's not the right code," she said, voice tight. "This card, it's been changed." "How?" he asked. Zara didn't get to answer, because at that exact moment, a voice shouted behind them. "Don't move." Lights exploded around them. A group of guards charged from the shadows, weapons raised. Zara turned, eyes wide. "Eli, run." But Eli didn't run. He turned toward the voice and saw Jax, a human, one of the other workers, one Eli had shared food with once, who always smiled and joked and seemed harmless. Jax stepped forward, holding a comm device. "Sorry, Eli," Jax said, "but they offered me a ticket off this rock. I couldn't say no." Eli stared in shock. "You told them? You think you're the only one who wanted to escape?" Jax said bitterly. You found something powerful and kept it for yourself. Guards pushed Zira to the ground. One of them activated her chain cuffs again. She screamed. The metal lit up red. Eli tried to fight, but he was tackled hard. 2 guards pinned him, punching his side. Zira reached for him, crying out, "No, don't hurt him." Jax walked up to Eli and crouched beside him. You should have shared your secret, he said. Now it's theirs. But something happened then. Zira's eyes glowed. Not softly. Bright. Burning. Dangerous. She clenched her fists and suddenly, the chain cuffs sparked and shattered. The guards jumped back, shocked. Zira stood slowly, her hair lifted as if touched by wind. Her skin shimmered like light on water. You made a mistake, she said, her voice not soft anymore. With a wave of her hand, the broken drone exploded, sending a blast of energy through the air. The guards fell. Jax screamed and ducked. Zira grabbed Eli and pulled him to his feet. Run. Now. They ran into the smoke and darkness, dodging lights and alarms. Behind them, chaos spread. Red lights, sirens, yelling. They didn't stop until they reached a drainage tunnel just beyond the outer wall. The old gate was rusted, but Zira burned through it with the last of the drone's power core. They crawled through the wet, narrow tunnel for what felt like forever. Until they came out, under the stars. Real stars, free sky, and silence. They collapsed into the dirt, bleeding, breathing, alive. Eli looked at her. You destroyed the cuffs. Zira wiped blood from her lip. I lied. I could have done it any time. Then why wait? Because I needed you to choose, she said, not because you had to, but because you wanted to. Eli said nothing. But in his heart, he understood. And he knew now, this was just the beginning. The human rescuer. Eli woke to warmth. Not sunlight. Firelight. Soft, orange flames danced nearby. His head rested on something soft. Cloth, not metal. For the first time in months, maybe years, he didn't feel cold or hungry or afraid. Just tired, but safe. When he opened his eyes fully, he saw her. Zira sat beside him, tending to his wounds. Her hands were gentle, careful. Her face was calm, but her eyes held a storm. You're awake, she said quietly. Where are we? Eli asked, his voice weak. In the outer forest, she replied, far beyond the prison wall. Rebels found us before the drones did. Rebels? Zira nodded. They've been hiding here for years. Old prisoners, escapees, even a few from other planets. They're building something the Empire fears. Eli tried to sit up, but pain burned through his side. Zira placed a hand on his shoulder. Rest. You took a bad hit when the guards tackled you. You saved me, Eli whispered. Zira looked away for a moment, then said, you saved me first. Behind her, the forest was quiet. Strange glowing plants lined the trees. Alien birds sang softly in the branches above, and around them, small huts made of scrap metal and wood sat in a wide circle, a secret camp hidden from scanners. Just then, someone entered the hut. A tall, bearded man with dark skin, cybernetic arms, and deep scars across his face. He's awake, the man said. His voice was rough, but not unkind. Zira stood. Eli, this is Captain Doran, leader of the rebels. Eli nodded weakly. You're lucky, Doran said. We saw the drone blast from a mile away. Sent a scout. Figured it was Empire weapons testing again. Instead, we found you too. He looked at Zira. You didn't tell me you were that Zira. Zira met his gaze. I didn't think anyone here would care about royal blood. We don't, Doran said, but we care about the codes you carry. Eli looked between them. What codes? Zira sighed. He knows, about the crystal inside me, about the memory vault. Everyone in the galaxy has heard the rumor, Doran said. A secret heir with access to the Empire's darkest files. Some say it's a lie. Some say it's a myth. But I've fought long enough to know the Empire hides its worst crimes deep. He walked closer and sat across from Eli. What I want to know is, why did you help her? Eli didn't answer right away. Then he said, because when I saw her, chained and alone, I saw myself. Doran studied him, then nodded. You've got guts, he said. Most men run from pain. You ran into it. He stood and motioned for Zara to follow him. Rest, human. We'll talk more when you can walk again. As they left, Eli let his head fall back, but sleep didn't come. He thought about everything. The prison, the betrayal, Jax's face, Zira's glowing eyes, the explosion, the pain, and her voice. You made me feel seen. 3 days passed. Eli healed slowly. Zira stayed close, rarely leaving his side. Sometimes she brought food, roots, alien fruits, soft bread from rebel ovens. Other times she just sat and told stories. About her mother, who once taught her stars had names. About her father, who loved war but feared peace. And about herself, how she never felt like she belonged in either world. But with you, she said softly one night, I don't feel lost. Eli didn't know what to say, so he just held her hand. On the 4th day, Doran returned. It's time, he said. For what? Eli asked. For you two to see the truth. They followed him through the forest, past the huts, and down into a hidden cave system. Inside, lights flickered on. Old tech, human tech. Screens glowed. Wires ran across the walls. And in the center, a massive holomap of the Empire's known planets. We've been building this for years, Doran said. Collecting info, saving lives, fighting back. He pointed to a blinking red dot near the center of the map. This is where they're keeping the other heirs. Zira's cousins, brothers, even children. Some of them don't even know what they carry in their minds. Zira stepped forward, staring at the red dot. They're using them. Yes, Doran said. Their memories, their voices, their blood. To control fleets, build weapons, erase history. Eli looked at Zira. You said the codes could end the Empire. They can, she said, but not if they stay inside me. Doran nodded. We need to extract them and share them with the people. The truth is our weapon. But then he added something else. Once we begin, the Empire will come. Hard, fast, without mercy. Zira turned to Eli. You don't have to stay, she said. You've done enough. Eli met her eyes. I'm not leaving, he said. Not until it ends. Zira blinked. Besides, he added with a faint smile, you still owe me a proper thank you. She laughed. For the first time, it was full and free. And in that moment, under the cave's soft lights, something shifted between them. Not just survival, not just partnership, something deeper. The final showdown. The cold wind howled as the rebel ship dropped through the clouds. Dark gray sky above, silver desert below. The Empire's hidden facility, Station Zephyr, sat in the middle of a wide crater, surrounded by towers, searchlights, and armed drones. From above, it looked like a silent beast made of steel and shadow. Inside that beast, hundreds of prisoners lived in silence, and somewhere in its heart, the memory vault. Zira stood near the edge of the ship's drop gate, dressed in black armor stitched with rebel insignia. Her glowing eyes scanned the land like fire looking for dry wood. The time had come. Next to her stood Eli, now in Gear 2, lightweight body shield, pulse blaster at his side, helmet in his hand. He looked different now. Not just cleaner, not just healthier. Stronger, braver, alive. Zira turned to him. You sure about this? Eli nodded. I didn't come this far to run now. You could still go back. He shook his head. You're not alone anymore. Captain Doran walked up behind them. You both know the plan. We drop in fast. We use the codes Zira gave us to disable the outer walls. Then we reach the core. Once we broadcast those files, the Empire can't hide anymore. Zira placed her hand over her chest. They won't stop quietly. We're not asking them to, Doran said. We're forcing them. The countdown began. Drop in 30 seconds. Zira looked at Eli one last time. If something happens to me. Don't, Eli said quickly. Don't say that. She smiled faintly. Then stay close. Always. The gate opened with a roar. Wind blasted across their faces. And then, they jumped. They hit the ground hard. Dust rose. Alarms screamed. Searchlights snapped toward them. Blasters fired from every tower. But the rebels moved fast, scattering, hiding, striking back. Zira moved like lightning. She threw an energy disk into a drone's eye. Eli blasted a turret with a clean shot. Captain Doran took down 2 guards with a shock net. They made it to the outer wall. Zira pulled out the hacked code chip and jammed it into the main gate terminal. Lights flickered. Sparks flew. Then, silence. The entire wall powered down. We're in, she said. They sprinted through the gap, straight into the dark halls of the Empire's inner prison. It was quiet inside. Too quiet. Eli glanced around. Where is everyone? Zira stepped carefully. They know we're coming. They reached the core gate. It was huge, thick steel, 10 meters tall, locked with 4 security nodes. No way to hack them all fast enough. Then they heard footsteps. Slow, heavy, cold. A tall figure stepped out of the shadows. His skin was silver, his armor royal black. Eyes like burning ice. Zira's face hardened. General Valek, she said. Princess, he replied. Or should I say, traitor. Eli raised his weapon, but Valek didn't flinch. You've made quite the mess, the general said. But you've come far, farther than we expected. Zira stepped forward. Open the gate. Let them go. You're in no position to give orders, Valek said. Maybe not, she replied. But I have something you want. She held up a small glowing orb, the core crystal. Valek's eyes narrowed. You unlocked it. And now the truth is ready to burn through your lies. Valek drew his blade, a crackling energy saber, long and sharp. Then you leave me no choice. What followed was chaos. Zira rushed forward, blades in hand. Sparks flew as she clashed with Valek in a blur of steel and light. Eli ducked, rolled, and fired at the nodes, trying to unlock the gate manually. Doran covered him, blocking attacks from hidden drones. Zira and Valek's battle shook the walls. Each strike was thunder, each breath a storm. You were born for power, Valek shouted. Why give it to these creatures? Zira's reply came with a swing of fire. Because they still know how to love. One of her blades struck true. Valek staggered, gasping. But he wasn't done. He raised a hidden detonator. If I die, so do you all. Eli shouted, Zira. She turned. And then, boom. The ground shook. But it wasn't the facility. It was the rebel ship, returning, guns blazing, just in time. A direct hit struck the tower behind Valek, burying him in rubble. Zira fell to one knee, panting. Eli rushed to her. You okay? We have to open the gate, she said. Now. He helped her up. Together, they placed the orb into the final node. The gate hissed, opened, and inside. Dozens of alien children and teens stared back, frightened but alive. The last hairs, the silent minds, the forgotten voices. Zira walked in slowly. They backed away, until one little girl stepped forward. She looked up at Zira. Are you the one who ran away? Zira knelt and nodded. Yes, but I came back. The girl reached out and touched her hand. Can we go home now? Zira smiled softly. Not yet, but we can begin. Eli turned and saw the transmission uplink screen. Zira walked over, pressed her hand to the interface, and began the upload. Millions of files, images, videos, truths the Empire buried for decades. Across the galaxy, rebel stations lit up. The people watched in silence, then in anger, then in hope. The Empire was falling, and Zira had lit the match. The mate bond. The war didn't end in a single day, but it started ending the moment the truth was set free. Across the galaxy, people woke up to the Empire's darkest secrets, broadcasted through rebel channels, stolen satellites, and even hacked Empire billboards. Cities once loyal to the crown began to question everything. Soldiers laid down their weapons. Prisoners were released, and hidden rebels rose in numbers too great to silence. Station Zephyr was the spark. Zira lit it, and Eli stood beside her when it burned. It had been 3 weeks since the transmission. Zira and the rescued hares were now safe at a rebel sanctuary built inside the caves of a broken moon. The young ones were healing, learning, speaking again, and for the first time in their lives, they were no longer tools. They were free. Eli walked through the moonlit garden outside the base, hands in his pockets, eyes on the stars. He still wasn't used to peace. No alarms, no chains, no shouting, just silence, just breath, just freedom. He heard soft footsteps behind him. He didn't turn. He already knew. Zira, you always walk alone, she said gently. Habit, he replied with a small smile. It's quiet out here. You don't like quiet. I like knowing no one's chasing me anymore. Zira stepped beside him. Her silver eyes reflected the starlight like water catching fire. How are the kids? He asked. Laughing, she said. They painted on the walls today. Things they remembered. Some drew stars. One drew a bird. Another drew you. Me. Zira smiled. You with a long beard. Apparently you're a space wizard now. Eli laughed. It felt good. It felt real. Zira looked at him for a long moment. You haven't asked what's next. Because I already know. She tilted her head. You do. You're going to lead, he said. You're the last royal they didn't break. People believe in you now. They follow you. Zira sighed. I never wanted to rule. I know. She paused, then added, I just wanted to be seen. Eli turned to her. You were, he said softly. From the moment I found you in the shadows. They stood in silence for a while. Then Zira reached into the small satchel at her side and pulled out a thin chain. Attached to it was a glowing blue pendant, shaped like a circle with markings from her homeworld. Do you know what this is? She asked. Eli shook his head. It's called a soul token. In my culture, it's only given once, to someone who saved your life and your spirit. She took his hand and gently placed the pendant in his palm. You broke my chains, Eli. Not just the ones on my wrists. The ones in my heart. Eli stared at the pendant, unsure what to say. Zira, I'm just human, she interrupted. Yes, and that's exactly why this matters. She stepped closer. Our bond is real. Not because we were forced to fight together. Not because we escaped together. But because you never asked for anything in return, and still, you stayed. Eli felt his chest tighten. Where does this bond lead? He asked quietly. Zira smiled. In my world, it means we're mates. Eli blinked. As in, she said softly, I chose you. His voice was barely a whisper. Do I get to choose too? You already did, she said. The moment you came back that second night. He laughed under his breath. You remembered that. Every second, she whispered. And then, she kissed him. Soft, slow, not rushed by danger or fear, just warmth, just trust, just love. The stars above them spun silently, as if blessing the moment. Weeks later, they stood before the United Rebel Council, Zira wearing a simple sash of leadership, Eli at her side. Captain Doran addressed the crowd. This woman carried secrets the Empire feared. And this man, this human, chose to fight for someone he barely knew. Not for glory, not for power, but because it was right. The room stood in silence. Then, cheers. And for the first time in his life, Eli felt seen. Not as a prisoner, not as a tool, but as something more. As someone who mattered. Months passed. Peace slowly spread. The Empire fractured. The galaxy breathed again. Zira and Eli traveled from system to system, not as rulers, but as reminders of what hope looked like, of what freedom felt like. One night, in a small village on a quiet moon, a little alien girl tugged on Eli's sleeve and asked, "Is it true you broke her chains?" Eli looked at Zira, who was busy handing out books to local children. He smiled. "No," he said gently. "She broke mine too." And the stars above them shimmered. Free. Forever.